I see it that as law school go through CLEP, they will fall in love with clinical legal education. They will fall in love first because it nurtures the ideals of this profession, the ideal to serve those who needed the service the most. Because that's the access to justice component of CLEP. And you have these thousands of law students who would be doing that and who wouldn't be infected by that, no? And I know they will go back to our roots, that is really service, so that the future of CLEP, people will fall in love with CLEP. Secondly, why will they fall in love with CLEP? Because they will finally realize that experiential learning is the best way to deepen your knowledge of any subject matter. You know, the medical profession is into that, right? But the legal profession, we're not yet into that. And so this is what is being given to CLEP. This is the future of CLEP. More law schools would be, in fact, opening not just one law clinic. I see that in the future, there will be more law clinics. And I know that the resources are very demanding. But when they see the love that is in CLEP and the knowledge, the deepening of knowledge that CLEP will offer the law students, they will give their resources for clinical legal education with love, no longer because they are compelled to do so.
I am hoping that CLEP will be mainstream in the same way that we talk about, remedial law, criminal law, political law being part of the mainstream of legal education in all law schools all over. I'm hoping that CLEP will not be a distant relative, always trying to get inside the house. I'm hoping that CLEP will be mainstream and will be considered as a legitimate expression of pedagogy in our law schools. And I see that in the roots of the Supreme Court on externship as well as clinical education, as well as the efforts of the Legal Education Board to bring them into reality. It's a really great first step. Of course, there's a lot of room for improvement. I'm hoping really that this experiment with clinical education will continue to be developed, and that this experiment will eventually lead us to mainstream clinical programs, clinical education, as part of our curriculum in legal education.
The future of CLEP is just so bright. In terms of if you read the revised law student practice rule, it's really to provide more access to justice. And I think with the presence of different law schools all over the country, it will really bridge that gap. And I would like to suggest that we do collaborations from between and among law schools, collaborations on best practices, collaborations and maybe sharing of cases, for example, wherein we will be able to access resources, we'll be able to access different kinds of expertise from the different law schools all over the country. And I think that would be great.
We will be able to build a community of learners and practitioners that would be able to come together. It's not a one-size-fits-all how we'll be able to solve our problems, but definitely the experiences of different communities, of different law schools, of different programs, when you bring them all together, this is where that community of learners are able to exchange what are good practices, what can be done, what worked in one way, where are the commonalities, how can we further improve what is already there. And that will build as well better community of practitioners. And that's the beauty of this being lodged in law schools, because we are able to influence and we are able to open our minds because we're learners, but we are able to shape the practice of law.
I hope that the community will continue with the sharing of best practices, that this be a regular thing. Maybe quarterly when clinicians would gather together. Now, we already have technology for that. We don't need to travel. We can just meet and share best practices. And maybe not just best practices. Share our challenges. Share our challenges, the burden of administering a clinical legal education program, because everything always have their challenges, problems, and burden. But when we share it, we are able to maybe not find a solution, but lighten the load, no? Because there's somebody listening to you. So that's what I see. The development of a family of clinicians who would meet regularly to share their stories.
CLEP, as envisioned in the country, is really one of its kind. I think the first in the world, the kind that is institutionalized by the Supreme Court in the law schools and married with as a requirement in the bar examination. So as a program in itself, we know that it's going to be here for long, and it will be very stable. And so it has a really promising future when we envisioned it back in 2019 after our 2018 visit in the US. But now, more than just the promise, we are seeing CLEP really to offer so much. I mean, even exceeding our expectations. We see a lot of law schools doing myriad of activities, not just focusing, for instance, in appearances in court as traditionally conceived of as part of CLEP, but now they're doing a lot of work bringing the law closer to the people, making it understandable by everyone. And so the future of CLEP is really that of a meaningful work by the law schools to the community. So we hear a lot of excitement. We see a lot of work being done by all law schools. So this is a common shared experience. And so what only needs to be done moving forward is for us to keep on sharing lessons, best practices, experiences, so that this CLEP that was but 3 years old actually will exhibit that maturity that is really far beyond its years.
I think we'll have more active engagement of students in a way that they're able to analyze issues really and supporting the schools and also the overall justice system.